Alrighty, here we go. And our first hand looks great. I mean, we have a plan, and it involves casting multiple dismembers and Delver of Secrets. So, I mean, this is a great keep. Obviously not great if the dismember isn't great, but if the dismember is good, the hand is probably good. And we're on the draw, which isn't great, but what you gonna do? Except win the roll next time, scrub. So our opponent inquisitions us. We're not exactly happy to see that. We're fine losing a Snapcaster, I guess, since it was actually the most redundant part of our hand. And then our Delver gets bolted, which is whatever. And we drew a Disrupting Shoal, and our hand's not looking so great anymore against Jund. The Dismember still looks good though. But this Liliana is going to be a bit of a problem. So we're just going to discard a land. And here is a case where you want a 2/1 body to start pressuring Liliana, and we actually have nothing else to do with this Snapcaster Mage at the moment anyways. And we even top deck a great draw here, Vendilion Clique. So we could clique on draw step. The thing is, if our opponent has Kolaghan's Command, we're probably wanting to take it out of our opponent's hand. The safest play is just to clique now, and I think that's just the correct play. There's no reason to get greedy. And we see Tarmogoyf and Huntmaster. So Tarmogoyf is getting close to the point where we just can't dismember it. If our opponent minuses this Liliana, it'll be too big. So we need to just take the Tarmogoyf, otherwise it's going to get us good. So if our opponent draws a land, they can Huntmaster, but we do have a pretty good answer to Huntmaster anyways. And they do in fact draw the land. So Spellstar is not a bad draw. We're able to dismember and only take 2, and we basically have to do that, otherwise the Huntmaster is going to flip, which would be very bad since it will kill our Vendilion Clique and kill us. So we're hoping for a 2-drop, but not that 2-drop because can't be countered. I mean, realistically we're hoping for non-Raging Ravine lands, but I suppose we at least have an answer to that Tarmogoyf, and now we're just being beat down by this wolf. And once again we have another answer to a 2-drop in Disrupting Shoal, which isn't looking great, but isn't looking terrible at the moment either. And Serum Visions is a good draw, and we draw Ancestral, bottom a land, and then keep a Serum Visions. So at this point, yeah, we aren't unhappy just hitting Ancestral and a bunch of Serum Visions, because this wolf token is not great. It appears that our opponent has whiffed on a creature, so, and we can't even Disrupting Shoal. A 2-drop anyways, so we're just gonna suspend Ancestral. And so now this game basically hinges on if this ancestral resolves or not. So we need our opponent to whiff here. And in fact, they do not whiff. In fact, they ultra do not whiff. Not only did they have Dark Confidant and Tarmogoyf, they specifically didn't play whichever one of these they drew last turn into our Disrupting Shoal mana. So, yeah. Ultra bad. So, bottom again, draw another Serum Visions. So we hit Snapcaster Mage, which isn't really going to save us at this point because it doesn't kill Tarmogoyf. If we could kill Tarmogoyf, we could realistically win if this Dark Confidant just whiffed a million times until our Ancestral came down. But still need some Ancestral healing. And here we top a Delver and play out Thing in the Ice chump block, so our plan is to chump block, and resolve Ancestral, which somehow I don't think is going to work. And yeah, that's the game. So plan failed and dead. Ultra dead. So sideboarding, here against Jund, we for sure want our Threads of Disloyalty. Those are going to be incredibly useful. Shackles would be okay, except for Kolaghan's Command being a card. So we probably just don't want it because first of all, it might not be big enough to steal a Tarmogoyf anyways. Second of all, it's going to get Abrupt Decayed or Kolaghan's Commanded a lot of the time. So here we really just want this, possibly Jace, since we're on the play. If we dismember and Jace, that could be a way to win the game. As for taking out, we probably don't want the Disrupting Shoals because they are negative card advantage in this matchup. Even though they can be a tempo swing, we're probably not winning through tempo. I don't mind getting rid of the Delvers and playing the control game, since our best way of winning is resolving Ancestral Visions. But Vapor Snag's Remands also aren't that great. So it's kind of a choice. Do we want to be aggressive, or do we want to attempt to out-control our opponent? And I mean, either option is fine, or you could hedge a little bit and take out like the snags and keep in the Remands and keep in some amount of Delvers. I'm not sure what's correct. I mean, Delver isn't great in this matchup. They have a lot of ways to deal with it. So I would probably just do something like this. Dismember seems better than Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag is okay against Liliana though. If they have an empty hand, you can snag back their creature and then they'll discard it. So we're on the play and have the best hand ever. Ancestral turn 1, Threads of Disloyalty, and some other stuff. So yeah, we definitely want to keep this and get that Ancestral. So if we can't win this game, we're not ever winning against Jund, pretty much. Because turn 1 Ancestral is exactly what we want to be doing. Into turn 2 Thing in the Ice, not bad either. So here our opponent just terminates and doesn't play into threads of disloyalty, which is not great for us. And here we just decide to take Deprive because we can leave up Deprive. We're gonna resolve Ancestral anyways. And we get to Deprive Liliana, which is pretty good. Ancestral's about to come down. Can't actually flashback Deprive, so I just decide to go ahead and sleight of hand and just try and snowball some card advantage, just keep up the pressure, and take a Delver, and double Goyf. So now we get to resolve Ancestral Vision, but if Vision comes off before we kill this Tarmogoyf, they'll actually be impossible to kill with Dismember because there is no sorcery in the graveyard. So we make the heads-up play of Dismembering on upkeep. And then ideally we would hit a land and threads this other Tarmogoyf, but unfortunately we didn't actually hit a land. Not a huge deal since, I mean, we hit gas, which is pretty good. And so here I just cycle both my probes trying to hit a third land, which is kind of risky, but it allows us to see our opponent's hand, see that they don't have an answer for threads, and see that they don't really have great ways to push through damage. It might have been better to just go Delver and hold on to the probes, but it works out because we actually hit a land and are able to threads and get in 2 damage and have a big man on our side. So opponent draws Terminate and Scavenging Oozes. So we double Delver and also suspend Ancestral. This game could easily still go into Ancestral territory, and then we just leave up Dismember. And get rid of Scavenging Ooze. And don't hit an instant or sorcery. But now we're able to leave up Cryptic Command to bounce the Raging Ravine. Which is excellent for us. We still know our opponent has Scavenging Ooze in hand, but we don't really care if that resolves at this point too much. And we're kind of ridiculously ahead now that we hit Spell Snare, since we get to repeal the Scavenging Ooze and Spell Snare it again, and yeah, our opponent is just dead this turn to the repeal anyways, but yeah. So game 3, so we're on the draw, have a pretty awful hand. I mean, Serum Visions does a lot, but I don't think it redeems this hand. There's just no way I'm winning with 5 lands, and unfortunately mulliganing against Jund is not good for our chances of winning. So this hand is actually great if we had a blue source, so I think I have to keep this and just hope I hit a blue source with our Scry. We even have Dismember if we don't, but I mean, we're not winning if we don't hit an island. But I think this is this excellent hand is gonna increase our chances compared to mulliganing to 5. So we do hit an island, and we are off to the races. So whiffs again on our sad little Delver. But our opponent doesn't have a turn 2 play, which we're completely fine with. And I mean, we have Thing in the Ice, we have removal in Dismember, and we have card draw. So this is pretty much ideal for how things could have gone. Like, Liliana isn't that bad for us. Tarmogoyf isn't that bad for us. Realistically, our opponent just has to grind us out, and our hand is pretty good at withstanding some grinding. So I go ahead and Mutavault because I want to be able to attack Liliana if our opponent, say, kills this and then Liliana minuses. And they just pulse Thing in the Ice, which again we are fine with. What we're not fine with is hitting a land there. We really would have liked something good there, like Ancestral Vision, which, keeping on top, may seem odd, but even on turn 4, Ancestral Vision is going to be relevant this game, and it's going to reveal for both of our Delvers. And our opponent just played Maelstrom's Pulse, so we are actually even willing to run both out there, even though it is a little risky if we run into another Pulse. And yeah, so we identified that our opponent's hand is not creatures, since they're not playing creatures. Turns out it is a bunch of removal, which is going to make Ancestral fantastic. And now we have to decide if we want another Ancestral. And the truth is, yeah, we do. So we put it on top and suspend our first one. We keep the Snapcaster and the Ancestral. I mean, this is exactly what we want, is to just draw a bunch of cards. We have the Dismember for Raging Ravine. We have Clique to pressure that. And our opponent, thankfully, has just drawn nothing creature-wise. And this is great against a Liliana. We have the Mutavault, we have the Clique. So we can suspend that Ancestral and then wait on our Clique. So we want to... we don't want our opponent to minus this Liliana, is why we're not playing Clique on draw step. We want our opponent to plus and then Clique. They'll likely have to discard a card, and we will not, which is good enough. And we'll even get the effect from the Clique, although it's not likely to do anything here because, yeah, we're obviously just going to let our opponent discard that so they don't draw into like a Kolaghan's Command or any sort of burn. So Liliana is on 5, but that's okay. And we even turn Visions into a land and hit a Cryptic Command, so we were able to hit the Liliana this turn, and even if we weren't able to, we draw a Cryptic Command anyways to bounce the Liliana. And now Ancestral is on our Ancestral Visions, as it is so often mispronounced, but this time it's actual Ancestral Visions. So next turn we'll be drawing 3. So we could kill the Liliana with Mutavault, But realistically, I want to. It's not actually that bad for us. It's kind of annoying that whatever card we draw off Cryptic we'll have to discard if once this Liliana pluses, but we really want to bounce this Raging Ravine now, because we're just going to be drawing eight or nine cards over the next few turns, although this card that we draw doesn't really matter. So yeah, we'll just bounce the Raging Ravine. Now what we could have done is Cryptic immediately on the Raging Ravine, and then in case we specifically draw Serum Visions, we could have cast it. And our opponent cast Collective Brutality in duress mode when we have an empty hand, and that is the concession. So yeah, with Ancestrals coming, it is very likely we were not losing that game.